The stories you are about to see are real. The rewards up to $5 million are real. This is Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous, the criminals don't. And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
Residents in Augusta are concerned about underground nightclubs that have been popping up in some local neighborhoods. The houses at loud parties allegedly sell beer and alcohol and drugs to the guests, and they litter the streets with trash and cause traffic problems for residents surrounding these houses. The challenge is police catching this illegal activity as it happens. Residents are concerned that these parties are getting out of hand. This belief was solidified after a stabbing occurred at one of these party houses recently. Another party house had a group of gangbangers come in and shoot each other up. Police are asking for tips so they can prevent more illegal activity from occurring and help keep the peace in these areas. If you have information about criminal activity at these party homes, please call your local police. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or text or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and unshot. Richmond County Sheriff's deputies say a man robbed an Augusta woman at gunpoint Friday, stealing cash and more than $2,100 worth of jewelry from her home. Denise Mines, 35, had just returned home on Skinner Mill Road about 2:30 p.m. when she heard a knock on her door. She thought it was her sister, so she opened the door but was greeted by a white male brandishing a black handgun. She pressed the panic button on her alarm system as the suspect entered her home, and he demanded that she hand over her rings and an envelope in her hand containing $1,500. The suspect forced Mines into her bedroom to retrieve her jewelry, then ordered Mines to stay in the bedroom as he fled the scene. The suspect is about 6 foot tall and weighs about 150 pounds. He has brown hair with blonde tips and was last seen wearing a yellow polo shirt, black pants, and a silver hoop earring in his right ear. If you think you know who or where this suspect may be, please call the police. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or text or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and unhome invaded. Waynesboro police need your help finding 2 suspects possibly connected to a murder. Deputies say they're looking for Terrence Brown and Ricky Hughes, who they tell us are wanted in connection with the murder of Mancrigus Bonner. Authorities say they're considered armed and dangerous. If you know anything about where the police can find Terrence Brown and Ricky Hughes, please call the police. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or text and email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and unmurdered. Richmond County Sheriff's deputies report someone stole a City of Augusta Kawasaki Mule utility vehicle. Police say a Kawasaki Mule utility vehicle belonging to the City of Augusta was stolen downtown Saturday evening after being parked on 9th and Reynolds Street by a city employee. A Marriott parking attendant told police 3 young males were playing on the vehicle for about 15 minutes before he left the area. He didn't see anyone leave with the vehicle. This is what we were talking about when they say they want to spend money before stopping the crime. All it did was give crooks better stuff to steal. If you know who or where those who stole this may be, please call the police. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or email and text your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and keep your stuff. Columbia County Sheriff's deputies are looking for this middle-aged black male who stole beer from the Circle K on Columbia Road at Bel Air Road in Martinet. The subject is suspected of the same scam throughout the area. He usually pulls up to the beer stand outside a store, grabs a few cases of beer, and then drives off without paying. Who keeps beer outside a store except Columbia County? He is driving the green two-door 90s model car you see on your screen. Police also believe he has pulled the scam at the Buy Low across the street. Every time someone steals from a store, they're forced to raise prices to cover the theft, so lots of things are going up, not because they always cost more, but mostly because crime is so bad stores are forced to pass their losses on to you or go out of business. Think you know who or where this beer thief is? Then please call the Columbia County Sheriff's Office at 706-541-2800. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or text and email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and keep your beer. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help finding the unknown black female and unknown black male you see on your screen. If you know how to contact them, they're wanted for questioning in connection with the theft of copper wire on a wooden spool taken from 2525 Washington Road, property belonging to the Augusta National adjacent to the course. Every time you have to lock or unlock your home, business, car, and do all the other things thieves keep us busy with trying to keep them out of our stuff, thieves steal your time and resources. Don't let thieves steal your life, too. Let's get these thieves off the street before they steal your stuff also. This investigation is ongoing. However, if any information is collected as to the identification of the suspects or location of the stolen material, please notify Investigator Kendall Brown at 706-821-1440. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or text and email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and keep your stuff. Please refer to case number 14-176882 when placing your tips.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
In our continuing report on white-collar crime stealing over 5 times the amount that blue-collar criminals steal, we discovered what looks like one of the non-governmental organizations embezzling large amounts of funds that should have been shared for their own organization and the city. Anyone suggesting an audit of these that stick their hands in everybody's pocket using the county to steal your money were likely right. It's so bad Augusta owes an apology to all those they arrested in non-victim crimes when so many are ripping off the taxpayers who are victims. Then they parade across your TVs acting like good people, but are in violation of several laws for not reporting their activities because they could get busted if they did, so they just break the laws and don't report. Almost all of these use your tax money to make their money. They are who asked to raise your millage so they could grub even more filthy lucre as they use your money to look down their nose at you. Clean up Augusta's corruption and there will be plenty for a cost of living raise and balance the budget with no tax increase. 2 birds, 1 stone.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
Homeland Security raids home to seize Land Rover for violation of EPA standards, protecting America from the deadly threat posed by vehicles which flout emission standards.
Every car and truck has a VIN number like this, and the same number engraved in several places. They all have to match, otherwise something's amiss. Last week, Homeland Security agents came to Bill and Jennifer Brinkley's carport and said something was wrong with what they found here.
It was a 1985 Land Rover Defender.
The Defender is fairly rare in the U.S. because most don't comply with safety and emission standards and can't be imported unless older than 25 years. Then there's an exemption. When the Brinkleys bought it last year, they checked it out.
It looked great.
But this federal lawsuit claims there's a problem, that the VIN number may have been changed to make it seem old enough to be imported. When the feds came here to get it, they didn't give the Brinkleys a chance to debate the issue.
They knocked on my door
And took your car.
and took my car.
It's just unnerving the way they did it.
They've got 35 days to appeal, but the feds won't tell them where the car is. Now, if the VIN numbers do not match, well, the Brinkleys say they understand then what's happened, but what they don't understand is why 6 or 7 vehicles had to come onto their property and treat this almost like a raid to get the car. I called Homeland Security. No one called me back. The Brinkleys are trying to contact the person they bought the car from, but no luck. They've put $60,000 into the car. You'll be out the money.
And the vehicle.
Their advice, check all VIN numbers before buying a car, especially a Land Rover Defender. In Statesville, Steve Onesorge, WBTV, on your side.
Isolated incident? Don't count on it. See this article at www.thetruthaboutcars.com to read about how DHS was busy tracking down 40 Land Rovers this month as gangs, criminals, and terrorists entered through our southern border. And another example of how the Department of Homeland Security has expanded far outside the purview of its original function. 6 vehicles full of DHS agents were required to seize one Land Rover from a couple in Statesville, North Carolina, due to the fact the vehicle allegedly violates EPA emission standards. That's right, as America is invaded as part of its mission to protect the homeland, the DHS has been busy seizing imported vehicles that don't comply with safety and CO2 regulations. The Department of Homeland Security, created in the aftermath of 9/11, was tasked with the role of protecting America from terrorist, man-made accidents, and natural disasters. However, the DHS has been turned into a national police force with a remit that extends from seizing websites and copyright infringement to confiscating fake NFL merchandise. The menace of a national police force, also known as a standing army vested with so much power, cannot be overstated, nor can its danger be ignored, wrote Whitehead before listing numerous examples of how the DHS is instrumental in pushing America's decline into a militarized police state. One such example occurred earlier this month in Greenville, North Carolina, when teams of armed DHS agents showed up outside a courthouse. There was no threat to the building. The purpose of the agents' presence was to let people know they're in the area. In another incident, the DHS conducted a military-style invasion of a small town in Illinois, complete with armored vehicles, a Black Hawk helicopter, and a phalanx of heavy-duty equipment and weaponry.
A Black Hawk helicopter circles the skies over Livingston, Illinois. On the ground, an Arch helicopter, a unified command post from Homeland Security, and SWAT team vehicles from Madison County, all parked in the field of a Livingston, Illinois grade school.
At first, I thought it was really neat, and then whenever all the armored trucks started showing up and everything, it made me kind of nervous, and I thought, what's going on?
The peacefulness of the town of 850 was broken by all the excitement.
I think it was pretty cool, actually.
The law officers would not comment about their operation, even to the school superintendent, and they were using the school district land.
I did not get any information on that at all.
You wish they would have told you ahead of time?
Well, I understand their business in terms of what they're doing, so they can't always alert us, but yeah, it would have been nice if we would have at least received a phone call.
Our friend Joe went over there, and they told him that they were waiting for something big to happen. They were on standby.
All that we received from them was that they were using this as a staging area.
The site became an instant attraction for citizens who say the officers were hospitable, inviting the kids to check out the choppers up close.
It was pretty cool inside, but we couldn't go inside because they said they had weapons in it.
It was later learned they apprehended one man for downloading indecent images on his computer. Given the history, the Brinkleys should probably count themselves lucky that they didn't have guns pointed at their hands during the seizure of the Land Rover, which the DHS apparently sees as a bigger threat to America to the nation's borders. And the fact that TSA is a subdivision of DHS that allows aliens to board planes without identification. Here's Leanne McAdoo.
Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. It is Friday, July 11th, 2014, and I'm Leanne McAdoo. Well, if you needed any more proof that the TSA is nothing more than contrived security theater, look no further than what's happening at the border. You know, if you want to fly into the USA, you've got to subject yourself to radiation and groping by the TSA. But if you're a terrorist and you don't mind walking, you can just walk right in through the border. And then when you get here, the TSA will allow you to fly, no identification necessary. Now, this is according to the National Border Patrol Council. They say the aliens who are getting released on their own recognizance are being allowed to board and travel commercial airliners by simply showing their notice to appear forms. Now, of course, this just adds insult to injury. Not only are we releasing unknown illegal aliens onto American streets, but we are allowing them to travel commercially using paperwork that could easily be reproduced or manipulated on any home computer that has no security features, no watermark, nothing. Now, the spokesman Garza highlights the significance of the security threats that this is posing to the American public, saying, "The threat this poses from terrorists upon the American people is absolutely unacceptable. Central Americans aren't the only people crossing our border and being released. Does anyone actually think that cartels and other criminal or possible terrorist organizations are not taking advantage of the fact that we are having to leave our borders wide open while reassigning the majority of our agents to process family units and minors?" So, of course, this situation is being exploited by such threats. And his ideas echo a report from the UN that was issued in 2012. It states that irregular migrants from the Horn of Africa, which includes Eritrea, Somalia, and Ethiopia, as well as Bangladesh, Nepal, India, China, and other African and Asian states, are being smuggled through Central America. So this is what we've been telling you. It's not just Central Americans. We really have no idea who's coming through. They're not having to show any identification. Here, city officials in Massachusetts are reporting that adult illegal immigrants posing as unaccompanied alien children appear to be attempting to enroll at public high schools. They say they have gray hairs, saying they're 17, and they have no documentation. Now, federal policy prohibits city officials from inquiring into any child's immigration or citizenship status and background. So clearly, this is an issue. Not only do you not know what kind of potential pedophiles are there in the classroom with your children, we're not allowed to ask them for citizenship status or identification, but there could also be gang recruiters in the classroom with your children. We've already reported how MS-13 gang members have been found to be at these border facilities. Of course, high school students and middle school students are very susceptible to being pulled into gangs by their peers. And there's also another group that recruits students on campus, La Raza.
A jail report is posted that the Columbia County Sheriff's Office report this black male and his limping black female accomplice shoplifted a bunch of stuff from the Dollar General in Columbia County. He shoved a pack of t-shirts and some boxers into his shorts, and she put cans of air fresheners into her purse, which was already full of other stolen merchandise. The couple then left the store without paying, rolling away in a white Chevrolet passenger vehicle. The woman was walking with a noticeable limp. Recognize them? Then please call the Columbia County Sheriff's Office at 706-541-2800, Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or text and email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, or you remain anonymous and keep your stuff. Richmond County Sheriff's Office is seeking information on the murder of Willie Harris Aiken, Jr. Willie Harris Aiken Jr. was shot and killed at his residence at 413 Colorado Street on 1/13/2014. We asked several people if they knew that a murderer or murderers were still walking among us, and they told us they didn't even know anything about the murder of Willie Aiken. They said things like, well, if he wasn't out running around on the wrong side of town, he wouldn't have got murdered. Willie Aiken was shot at his own home. If he had better friends, he wouldn't have got murdered. Willie Aiken had wonderful friends and family. I didn't even know he was murdered. They'll eventually find out who murdered him. Oh yeah, you didn't even know he was murdered because the news media thought everything in the world was more important than keeping you and yours from being the next murder victims. Murderers who have murdered don't have a lot to lose by not murdering again, because that's just how they roll. So everybody knows what's happening in Hollywood. What are the latest football scores? And even who won the lottery? But very few know that their door could be kicked in at any moment, and you and your family violated or even murdered. So what can you do? Call your local TV stations and ask they start sharing Crime Stoppers 800-222-TIPS line. And what murderers or rapists or whatever violent and dangerous criminals we are trying to stop. If you go to Facebook, search for Augusta Crime Stoppers and like us. We'll send you pictures and details of all the bad guys that we have rewards out on. Since 2010, we have quietly paid out cash rewards to people like you who looked at Augusta Crime Stoppers Facebook page, saw the bad guys, called them in, and have a 100 times better chance of getting a large cash reward in just hours by calling in bad guys and murderers than you do of winning the lottery. But the best news is, if you get these murderers from all these unsolved murders off the street, you and your loved ones are in a much better position of not being murdered. If you think you know who or where who murdered Willie Aiken may be, please call Homicide Sergeant Paul Godden or Investigator Walter Garrison or any other on-duty Violent Crimes Division investigator at 706-821-1045. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or text or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and unmurdered.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
Researchers at the Georgia Institute of Technology and AugustaCrimeStoppers.org are researching software to recognize a person's walk or movements. Results indicate these new identification methods hold promise as tools to stop crime by identifying suspects from surveillance video that is too blurry or far away to see a face. Gait or movement recognition technology are biometric methods, that is, unique biological or behavioral identification characteristics such as a fingerprint or a face. With movement recognition technology, every part of the body can be covered, but the person is still ID'd by their movements. At Georgia Tech, one study is addressing issues of gait recognition by computer vision. Another is exploring a novel approach, gait recognition with a radar system similar to those used by police officers to catch speeders. Augusta Crime Stoppers is looking at adapting existing software that measures movements within a matrix to figure an identification that may hold up in court right off of raw surveillance video. The ultimate goal is to detect, classify, and identify suspects at great distances, day or night. Such capabilities can catch criminals, enhance the protection of U.S. forces, and stop terror attacks. Gait recognition by radar focuses on the gait cycle formed by the movements of a person's various body parts over time. Researchers correctly identified 80 to 95% of test subjects. The next step is to build a more powerful radar system and test it in the lab and then the field. Researchers are now building a radar system that can identify people from 500 feet or more. Augusta Crime Stoppers' movement recognition method doesn't require a radar gun, just video of any unsolved crimes. We think our method being pioneered right here in Augusta with your support will be more useful, as our method only requires already existing video. If you have any video of an unsolved crime, please post it on the Augusta Crime Stoppers Facebook page or contact us so we can get it on the show as soon as possible. If your video results in a violent criminal being taken off the streets, then you can get a cash reward.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
Now for an update on the Travis Moore murder investigation. As you may have already seen on Crime Reports, investigators say Moore was gunned down on the 3400 block of Old Louisville Road at Finney Road a little before 2:30 a.m. on Thursday morning, May 26th. Witnesses say Moore was robbed and shot while on his way home from a nearby club, even though he was in his own front yard with another male and female friend who saw the whole thing. Travis's friends have set up a Facebook page in an effort to find Travis's killers called R.I.P. Travis Moore. At the time of the shooting, the suspects were described as two black males wearing ski masks, and someone may have seen stalking Travis in the Old Louisville Road at Finney Road area. However, new information has emerged indicating that one of the robbers may have been white. At a recent Crime Reports and Rewards party at the Roadrunner Cafe on Peach Orchard Road, one of the attendees said a lawn man mowing a lawn near where Travis was shot found a small caliber pistol and offered to sell him the handgun. But at the time, the Crime Reports and Rewards fan turned the gun down. However, after hearing that the gun could be the murder weapon, Travis's friends are waiting for the lawn guy to call this man back so we can get it into police hands for ballistics testing. Now that we know the bullet that was taken from Travis was a small caliber, Augusta Crime Stoppers is doubling our previous reward of up to $2,000 for information leading to the gun that shot Travis, or any information which may lead to Travis's killer. If you think you know how police may find who shot Travis Moore, please call investigator Blaze Dresser at 706-821-1020. Or, for more information, visit our Augusta Crime Stoppers Facebook page and submit your tip. As always with Crime Stoppers, you may remain anonymous and you will get a cash reward. Now for an update on the Hester Jackson murder, Richmond County Sheriff's Office Lieutenant Blaze Dresser called a press conference on the 2700 block of Willis Foreman Road to announce a cash reward of up to $9,000 for the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the murder of 56-year-old Hester Jackson. Police are still searching for the shooter or shooters responsible for killing Mr. Jackson as he arrived home on Willis Foreman Road. Those who knew him say Jackson was a quiet gentleman who kept to himself and recently married a woman from North Carolina. AugustaCrimeStoppers.org has added another $1,000 reward payable upon the arrest of the shooters, so any witnesses that may come forth will have cash now and later should a conviction occur, bringing the total amount of the reward in the Hester Jackson case to up to $10,000. Okay, you guys are offering $9,000. We just added another $1,000 to it for Augusta Crime Stoppers. So now you can tell people that the reward is up to $10,000 total. Okay? Is there anything y'all would like to tell the whole world? Who do you think did this? Just what do you think? Who, what, where, any clues? If you have any information about the Hester Jackson murder as he arrived at his home on Willis Foreman Road, please call Lieutenant Blaze Dresser or Investigator Calvin Chu at 706-821-1020 or AugustaCrimeStoppers.org at 706-722-1010, where you'll always remain anonymous and get a cash reward.
You've been watching Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous. The criminals don't. If you have any information on these or any other crimes, call our national tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, you'll stay anonymous and could get a cash reward. You can see this or any other episode of Crime Reports and Rewards on the web anytime at crimereportsandrewards.com. Crime Reports and Rewards is a production of Michaels Media.